So some decidedly bad news here. Jamie Raskin's issued a statement revealing the following. After several days of tests, I've been diagnosed with diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, which is a serious but curable form of cancer. I'm about to embark on a course of chemoimmunotherapy on an outpatient basis at MedStar Georgetown University Hospital and Lombardi Comprehensive Cancer Center. Prognosis for most people in my situation is excellent after 4 months of treatment. I expect to be able to work through this period, but have been cautioned by my doctors to reduce unnecessary exposure to avoid COVID, the flu, and other viruses. In addition to destroying cancer cells, chemotherapy impairs natural antibodies and undermines the body's immune system. I'm advised that it also causes hair loss and weight gain, although I'm still holding out hope for the kind that causes hair gain and weight loss. Now, first off, if you're subscribed to my channel, I think that my respect for Jamie Raskin is beyond clear. I've interviewed him more times than any other elected official, including just this past week. And I want to show one particular clip from that interview, but just some background first. Jamie lost his son to suicide on New Year's Eve 2020. 6 days after he was in the Capitol during the insurrection. He became the lead impeachment manager for Trump's second impeachment, the person responsible for effectively defending American democracy from an unprecedented threat from within. Again, only days after the loss of his own son. Fast forward almost 2 years, and Jamie was the person who announced the criminal referrals of Donald Trump to the special counsel at the conclusion of the January 6th committee's work, bookending a period of immeasurable trauma that Jamie shouldered with the integrity that he displays always. What does this moment of finishing your work with the January 6th committee feel like for you? Because, this is the bookend of a really difficult personal journey, one that started with the death of your son, that kind of broke everyone's hearts, and then ended with you showing perseverance and integrity more than I think anybody could possibly imagine in working on this committee anyway, and now finishing your work. So what does it feel like to close this chapter?
Well, it's been a hard time, not just for my family, but for millions of families across the country. It's been a hard time for everybody because of the division and the polarization, and the online hatred and the unearthing and unleashing of really primitive tribal impulses, the racism, the anti-Semitism, the misogyny. And there's so much suffering from COVID-19 and the mental emotional health crisis that has swept so many people into it. So I'm glad that we're closing this chapter. It was sad to say goodbye to the members of the January 6th committee. These people will be my brothers and sisters forever because of what we've been through together. But I'm glad we're closing this chapter, and we're closing it on the note of the truth and the note of accountability, and it's up to other people to see if they follow through on that. But democracy can't just be about the past and rectifying injuries. It's got to be about the future, and our kids are counting on us, and our grandchildren are going to be counting on us, and their future generations. So we've got to save democracy in order to save the human species from climate change, because the autocrats in Russia and the theocrats in Saudi Arabia and Iran and the kleptocrats in Mar-a-Lago are not going to do it for us. I mean, in order to be serious about protecting humanity as well as democracy, you need to put Democrats, small d Democrats around the world, big D Democrats in America, in charge. Nobody else is going to do it. And that's not to say the Democratic Party is perfect, far from it. We've got all kinds of weaknesses and limitations, but we are a party committed to democracy, unlike the other guys. So we got to keep democracy moving forward in the interests of everybody's family.
Notice how he pivoted away from his personal trauma to focus on the suffering of everyone else. This person endured more pain and shouldered a bigger burden in a few weeks than most people do in a lifetime, and yet still his focus is shining a spotlight on others. That's who Jamie Raskin is in a nutshell. But look, with that said, this is not a eulogy, it's an acknowledgement of his resolve. He mentioned in a statement that the prognosis is excellent, and so if there's good news, then we should take it. What can hurt, though, is some words of encouragement. He tweeted, "Thanks for all the overwhelming support. I am very optimistic about my treatment, and I'm grateful for your encouragement, support, and prayers." He clearly sees the encouragement and support, and so if you have the time, throw some more his way. This is a person who stepped up in more ways than we can imagine when we needed him. Now is the time for us to step up for him, even if it's just offering up some kind words. And of course, the Raskin family also started the Tommy Raskin Memorial Fund for People and Animals. If you feel like doing some good, the link to donate is right here on the screen and it's in the post description. Of course, if you're religious, you could offer up a prayer, and if you're not, just keep them in your thoughts. But whatever you choose to do to help, just know that it's for a person who deserves it more than anyone. A person who has selflessly stood up for our country when most people in his position would have rightly focused on themselves. If anyone deserves our support, it's him. Before you go, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. You can click the thumbnail right here on this screen. And if you want to support my work even further, the best way is to subscribe to my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen. There you can check out my interviews with major players in the world of politics, including President Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Elizabeth Warren, Katie Porter, Jamie Raskin, and so many more. Plus other interviews that live exclusively on the podcast. That link is also right here on this screen, or just search No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen wherever you listen to podcasts.